something's going on in this world that we're all getting sicker and healthcare costs are going up. And we are working hard to be healthy, eat healthy diet, plant-based, low fat, and exercise, but we're getting sicker.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm thrilled to introduce you to a very special guest. For over 2 decades, this man has been instrumental in helping couples struggling with fertility experience the joy of parenthood. He's a doctor, an author, a presenter, pilot, potter, and carnivore. Dr. Robert Kiltz, welcome.
Diane, thank you very much for the introduction. I really appreciate being here. And sharing these stories is so critical and important for all of us because something's going on in this world that we're all getting sicker and healthcare costs are going up. And we are working hard to be healthy, eat healthy diet, plant-based, low fat, and exercise, but we're getting sicker.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So you work for yourself in a clinic, and tell us all about that. Tell us about where you work and what you created as far as your work life.
I'm a fertility doctor. I am an obstetrician, gynecologist, and a reproductive endocrinologist. So I basically, nowadays, I help make babies for those that are suffering from being infertile, not sterile, some infertile, where they either can't get pregnant, they miscarry, or they might have genetic abnormalities. I do in vitro. I own and run CNY fertility centers, one of the largest, most affordable and integrating Eastern and Western medicine to help people on this journey of infertility, because ultimately making babies and building families is the most important thing of life. I grew up in LA, kicked out of school in a gang, couldn't read. And Mrs. Wong taught me pottery in the 10th grade, and she taught me jewelry also, by the way. And I make cups, and I was in the potter studio yesterday unloading a kiln, a bunch of cups. I love it.
You see my cup, Dr. Kiltz?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, my pleasure. And so I couldn't read. I was dyslexic, but I was good at math. And I was a worker since 13 or younger. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, but I managed to go into medicine after breaking a leg. Even though I wasn't good at school and reading, I was good at science. And I managed to go into medicine, go into internal medicine first, then OBGYN, and then REI, Reproductive, Endocrinology, Fertility. And now I'm focused on fertility as my primary day job. I still operate. I still do day-to-day practice of medicine. And I fell into the carnivore keto world about 15, 20 years ago, actually more like 20 years ago in keto and about 15 years ago in carnivore. And I did it for me and my patients. And now all I do is want to talk about it.
So it seems like you have like 2 parts of your professional life. One part is a fertility doctor helping men and women become pregnant. And the other part is helping them live healthy afterwards and during and before, and growing old together and being able to grow old together.
Enjoying life as long as we can at the young ages we are.
Love it. Okay. I strike the word old.
well, I mean, you're right, but I want to change the language.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is language is first. If I can help you feel better mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, life, and life joy, that's what my method and my madness is. I learned from people like you or my patients and others how faith, I honor you and love you, vegan, vegetarians, Mediterranean, pescatarians, carnivores. But I too, healed arthritis, psoriasis, migraines, kidney stones, bowel bleeding on carnivore. I tried everything else. My patients taught me 20 plus years ago about paleo diet. And then I learned keto diet. And they were getting pregnant on these things. And a lot of it was the fad of the time, I think. I don't know, right? And then I found Carnivore in like 1 month. Arthritis, psoriasis, migraines, kidney stones, bowel bleeding, gone. Never felt better. I've been writing about it and talking about it and blogging about it. But it was COVID that broke the shell and put us out there on the internet more than we've ever been before, and found our communities. Again, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Keto's good. Carnivore is the best. And what would you do to have a baby and build a family? If you're suffering anything, if you have cancer, like what has modern medicine been telling all of us? Plant-based diet.
Yeah. And take pills.
I take pills.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next month.
Right.
Right? Oh, and this disease is life. It's genetic.
You just have to live with it. Luck of the draw.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. But what I've learned, we evolved for thousands of years before. I don't know how long. We came out of the trees to eat the grass eaters. We're hunters. We worked in a pack. We figured out how to make tools and weapons and to hunt, the strategy of the hunt. We killed and ate them raw, ate the fat, the organs, nose to tail. Eventually, fire came into play. And then we realized you could eat the plants if you ground them, soaked them, fermented them. You did something to manipulate them, including we then learned through agriculture, animal husbandry, which plants were the least toxic and which ones we can manipulate and further reproduce to feed the masses, because the masters ate the meat.
Yeah.
The masters
and I think at the beginning, before agriculture, we only ate the plants, the plant products, when we were starving. We had nothing else to eat. When we couldn't find the herds of buffalo, we couldn't find, the wallabies, wherever we were from, right? We couldn't find these animals, and we were starving. So in order to not die, we ate them. It's during a famine.
Yes, but maybe we're more like bears.
Okay.
Maybe we're omnivores, and we have always, in some small amounts, eaten seeds, nuts, fruits. But I don't know how many of us would eat the yams raw or potatoes raw.
If we had a buffalo sitting in front of us, we wouldn't eat yams, right?
No, right.
Opportunistic if we were, walking through the woods and saw an apple tree, which is totally different than our apple tree with these little teeny crab apples, we might have had a few before we get a bellyache.
We're highly inventive.
Yeah.
We're masterful. And so, but we're finding in our modern world that recommends which recommends a plant-based low animal fat diet.
Oh yeah.
We're all getting sicker. And 3 to 6 meals a day, like your grazing animal, we're getting sicker.
Oh.
And the last I looked, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine came from plants. My belief is the leading cause of all disease is inflammation. There are 5 main causes of inflammation. Plant sugars. There are actually about 9 sugars in the human body. Mm-hmm. And there are sugars on all cells of all organisms, by the way, but plant sugars are highly antigenic, inflammatory. Plant antigens, lectins, oxalates, phytates, and more are highly allergenic. Plant chemicals, estrogen, progestins, androgens, thyroid-like substances, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine are plant chemicals that are highly manipulative to your body. Fermentation of the plants. Remember, the microbes come with the plants, and in your gut, they ferment. That means the microbes eat the plants, which make alcohol, heat, gas, and methane. Are those things good for you in your gut?
No, they're
No.
anaerobic, so it has to be without oxygen.
Well,
Right.
right, but there are aerobic and anaerobic bacteria, but basically from here to here, it's kind of anaerobic.
Absolutely.
There's no oxygen there in any
No.
significant amount. And so if you look at spontaneous alcohol intoxication,
Oh, yeah.
how does that happen?
Without drinking alcohol, someone gets drunk.
Because they're fermenting in their guts,
Right.
which is deadly. Plus, the woman's rectum anus is right next to the vagina.
Yeah.
So are these microbes just hanging out in the bowels and not going anywhere?
No.
They're like always, everything you fill the void, right? You're always moving from high concentrations to low concentrations, and the microbes aren't sitting around in the gut. They go up the esophagus into the upper and lower respiratory systems. They go out the rectum anus into the vagina, the bladder, the cervix, the uterus, the tubes, the ovaries. And if you're eating 3 to 6 meals a day, your gut is full of microbes fermenting since the day you're born to the day you die.
And if you have a low immune system and this is occurring, you're going to get frequent UTIs.
Well, you have a defective immune system,
right?
Cause the microbes and the plants in concert with each other want to kill you and make you fertilizer. And so you're right, your immune system is damaged because you eat a high plant protein, low fat diet. If you simply ate a ton of fat, remember, fat from an animal, oils from plants. Fat is naturally made by nature. You kill the beast, you eat the fat and the meat. But plants have no significant oils unless they're industrially produced. First by the peasants who collect the fruits and the seeds and the vegetables, and then those that grind them, press them, and collect them. That's all based on slaves, soldiers, peasants, and prisoners.
And not until 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago, there's a little sesame seed. How are you supposed to get oil from this little sesame seed? Or, the soybean, right? So the process that they had to go through to produce oil from these little seeds, these little legumes. I mean, Dr. Kiltz, what do they have to do?
Industrial Revolution, but let's go back to olive oil,
okay,
or palm seed oil, or frankincense. There are many oils that we've been collecting for thousands of years back. Small amounts. They were for the priestly.
Right.
They weren't common. Right? What did we make soap out of? Potash and fat.
Right. Was it lye?
Lye, but it's all from potash mostly.
Yeah.
Potash, ash from the fireplace, the fires, in a bucket with water, and the fat. It makes soap.
I wonder who thought of that.
Well, how do we develop
take ashes from a fireplace to clean you?
Well, so everything is developed accidentally.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? So you got your fire, you got your pot or whatever it is with the fatty water, you pour it in there, and eventually it's soap, and you find out, oh, wow, this cleans pretty nice. So, I mean, how did we make rubber? How did we go to the moon? It's because one thing leads to another, and we're highly inventive. Okay, so now, really smoking plants? I mean, we're not dumb. It soothed us. We knew the smoke from the fire. Again, I'm not saying that we should never do these things, but realizing that we discovered these through our inquisitive nature, inventive nature, and we like to do things.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to carnivore. So you found out about carnivore through one of your patients, which I think is a fabulous thing.
I learned, so Atkins.
Oh, that's right.
Then paleo, then keto.
It was a process.
I learned carnivore from someone on the internet 15 years ago almost.
Do you remember who?
No idea.
Yeah. Yeah. You just start hearing it and it starts sounding right.
Well, some guy was ripped. He didn't exercise and he ate only meat. I'm like, I'm doing that. I want
to be him. Yeah.
I've been meat centric forever, ever. I've always wanted, it was steak.
Okay.
Burger meat, hot dogs, lamb. That's what I focused on. Italian sausage, meatballs. I'm a meat guy.
Yeah.
But
so you just gave up when you finally went carnivore. What was the thing that you finally gave up?
Salad,
cereal,
pasta, and it was like, but I was mostly like a spinach salad guy.
Right.
And I was neurotic. I ran a shitload.
Yeah.
I did all sorts of exercise. My back hurt, my knees hurt. I went carnivore. My back doesn't hurt anymore. Wow. My knees don't hurt anymore.
So you said spinach salad. I also heard that you had kidney stones.
Yeah, look, let's see. Arthritis, psoriasis, migraines, kidney stones, bowel bleeding. I'll go down the list, right? And so caused by oxalates.
Oxalates. Yeah, I had two. That's what I was coming to, is just the spinach smoothies and just putting the spinach in and blending it up, which I was chopping it apart, which was even more. And I ended up with 2 different times kidney stones from the oxalates. But I think that we hear that something is healthy, right? So we have to eat it to be healthy.
If I ever hear the word healthy, organic, clean, I run. I'm like, no. Look if you're starving and you need to eat a plant, go at it. But the last I looked, unless you have no fat on your body, you're not starving.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing carnivores learn how to do, is we learn how to fast as well, because we are fat adapted. So it's really, when they say it's not economical, I talk to my husband about this all the time and say, we could fast if we had to. We could eat once a day. You said you eat once a day, right?
Typically. So I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm confused. What does fat adaptive mean?
Fat adapted. I know what you're going to say. Okay.
I'm just curious, why do we say fat adapted? What does it mean in our carnivore world?
Actually, it's just a given if you're a carnivore that you are fat adapted, but when you're going from the standard American diet and you give up all the plants, all the carbohydrates, and you were used to eating all of that, and that was your fuel, and you give it up, you are running on nothing yet until you are able to produce ketones. So there is a period where you feel like you're starving because you're not adapted to burn the fat yet.
Well, can I give you my theory?
Yeah.
Okay. I just think it's a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Fat is the only fuel for the mitochondria. It is never plants, only.
So it doesn't burn sugar and make ATP?
Never does. Never does.
Okay.
Right. Because if you're anorexic, no fat on your body, but you got sugar circulating around, how likely are you to die fast? Very fast.
Likely. Yeah.
Very likely. Okay. So now, when does your body have no fat and no sugars? Does your body ever have no fat or no sugar? Never. It always
makes sugar when you don't eat it.
it makes fat. See, I think we've been
Doesn't
given.
the liver make sugar?
Okay, the liver makes fat.
Okay.
Okay, so what is the most abundant thing human beings are making on their diet?
Fat.
You better believe it. Okay, so we've been taught that sugar's your energy in order to sell you a diet that convinces you you need to fuel up with sugar, which is bullshit. Okay, so why do we get fat so easily? Is pathologic or physiologic? Pathologic means it's abnormal. All these people getting obese are abnormal.
Physiologic.
It's physiologic.
We make fat to survive.
Where do we make fat?
In the liver.
Only. Okay. So now, why do we focus on sugar? Because it's a snake oil science to convince you that you need sugar. So the most people believe that sugar is their energy and they eat sugar.
And
But
people
they
want to
realize
eat sugar because it's good. They think it's
Well,
delicious.
Well, it is, because if it was around and you didn't need it, you were dead.
Right.
So ultimately, human beings only burn fat. Sugar must be converted to fat in the liver or you die. It's really simple. When you eat food, the sugars and the protein amino acids go to the liver. Insulin is secreted to the liver. In the liver, insulin converts sugars and protein amino acids to fat. That lowers sugar levels, but that's not the job of insulin, because if you're always eating food, 3 to 6 meals a day, your stomach is always full of digesting plants and protein, correct?
Right. Right.
So that means amino acids and sugars are always going to the liver 24/7, 365. Insulin always goes up, and you're making fat in your liver. The job of the liver is to make fat and store fat, then send it around the body. But you never give your liver a break, because how many people eat fat on a standard diet?
Not too much fat.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Remember,
It might be fat mixed with the rest of it, but it's not a high fat diet.
No, they eat fruit, fiber, vegetable, seeds, and nuts, lean meat. Is there fat in that diet?
Not that diet, no.
That's the standard diet.
Yeah.
That is the Mediterranean standard diet. Fruit, fiber, vegetable, seeds, and nuts.
Okay, the Mediterranean, yes.
Well, that's the standard diet. That's a vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean diet.
But there are McDonald's hamburgers.
No, McDonald's hamburger is made of bread, lettuce, tomatoes, and cooked meat. That cooked meat has no fat.
That's true. Yep.
So a French fry is boiled in oil, which has a higher temperature, but it is not soaked in oil.
Right.
Just like if you boil it in water, you take it out, it drips out the water. So ultimately, we're all eating a high plant protein, low fat diet, 99% of us.
Yeah.
And carnivores are eating a lean meat diet mostly.
Yeah.
Most carnivores are not eating raw fatty meat.
They're afraid of the fat.
They're still afraid of the fat. I watch them. I see them all the time. So protein poisoning, low fat diet. Carbohydrate diet, low fat diet. Fatigue, brain fog, diarrhea, weakness, skin issues,
Yeah.
bowel and bladder issues, bone issues. They're all the same. Low fat diet is deadly for humans. Now, remember, fat adapted and is just like the wrong term.
What would you call it?
So why do we make fat so readily? Because fat's so critical. Type 1 diabetics, no insulin. They're fat one moment, 6 months later, what do they look like?
Very thin.
Beanpole or dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cirrhotic patient, what do they look like?
Cirrhosis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emaciated.
Emaciate the big belly.
What's in the belly?
The liver is all swollen.
It's water.
It's water.
Ascites.
Okay.
It's serum water, ascites. because the liver is shrunken, small, and cirrhotic. It cannot make what anymore?
Enzymes, fat. It can't fuel the body.
No, it can't make fat.
No.
See, remember, the fuel for the body is fat from acetyl-CoA. Ketone bodies are always in your bloodstream. You never have zero ketone bodies, ever. We just measure them based on the sugar levels, and the ketone bodies rise because you're not eating.
Yeah, I've been measuring my ketones with a keto mojo, and I just find it fascinating.
Well, when do you have your highest ketones?
I only measure in the morning.
Right, but is fasting the way to get your highest ketones?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because that's when I measure.
But why? So now your highest ketones are going to be near starvation.
Right.
Remember, starvation is when your body has little to no fat on it, except the last organ system to carry fat is the liver. So remember, when you eat fat, the chylomicrons develop in the gut are sent to the lymphatics, which is like a big VLDL, and it circulates the lipoproteins, the sugars, the amino acids, the fatty acids, the proteins, the minerals and vitamins to every cell of your body, because they're the building block of your body.
Right.
And the energy source of your body is fat. And so
I'm interested. I'm very interested recently in how the brain becomes insulin resistant.
The brain is never insulin resistant.
Well, they're finding that in multiple sclerosis and in Alzheimer's disease that the brain is becoming insulin resistant. I've been reading.
Okay, so define insulin resistant. Remember, this is the common paradigm, the common words that we use to get money for science, because it's insulin resistance is your problem. Insulin resistance is not our problem. It's hyperglycemia is our problem, and a low-fat diet.
Right. So
pathology is the same in every organ system.
There's hypoglycemia in the brain.
There's not. No way. No way. That's an impossibility. Because is sugar water soluble?
Yes.
Dissolves in water. Does water go through every membrane in your body?
Every membrane?
Every membrane in your body, water goes through easily. I'm giving you an opposite science that you and I have been taught.
Okay. All right. So you're not telling me I'm wrong. You're just telling me the science that I'm reading is wrong.
That's what I'm telling you. 100%. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So now,
I thought I read it. Okay. Here we go.
Okay. All right. Remember the science. Do you trust and believe all the science you read?
I like to be discerning. I like to look at it, and I like to read it, and I like to say, okay, does this make sense to me?
Right. But remember, a story can make sense depending on who's writing it.
True.
Okay. Mm-hmm. If I'm remember, I'm Harvard, or I'm, got money from the Rockefellers, and,
right.
And we believe the person because there's science. Do you believe Otto Warburg and Hans Krebs about what they defined as the metabolic pathways 100%?
Yeah, I believe that that's true. Yeah. I don't know about 100%. I don't know that well.
How do you know it's true?
I guess I don't.
You do not. Why do you trust them and not trust the scientists today?
Because I see what's going on and people aren't getting well.
Well, let me ask you something. Was Hitler afraid of cancer? And Otto Warburg was a specialist on cancer? You better believe it. Do you think we didn't have the diseases back then? We did. Do you think the same scientists wanted money and prestige just like today?
Of course.
Yes. Why do you trust their science?
So what do you think about insulin resistance? What is your
Well,
What is your story about
Okay,
insulin resistance?
So let me ask you, is insulin the problem or is plant sugars the problem?
I would say both.
Nope, pick one.
I say the insulin is the reaction to the plant sugars. The plant sugars is the original problem, then the body reacts to it.
Okay, so if I eat sugar, it goes into my bloodstream. What's insulin's job?
To take it out of your bloodstream.
No, it is not. Its job is to make fat in the liver. Because remember, if you don't eat sugars, if you don't eat for a month, what does your insulin level do?
It goes down.
It's low. It's almost zero. Okay? So, well, wait a minute. When you eat food, insulin rises.
Right.
Oh my God. Well, then maybe I shouldn't eat food. No, wait. I should eat food, little amount all the time. Insulin's going to be like this all the time, low glycemic index, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that good for you or bad for you?
Bad. I don't
Very
believe,
bad.
I don't
Very
believe in
bad,
that.
because that means glucose is always a little higher than it would be if you didn't eat for a month or a week, and insulin would always be there. Now, what's insulin's job? In the liver, its job is to make fat.
It has
Okay.
a lot of jobs.
No.
Only has
I'm
one?
giving you- just keep it simple. Occam's razor. Remember, you and I, we know the scientists have spent trillions of dollars from the donated money from the government and from industry to prove a point. Insulin has so many jobs out there. What else are you going to do to get your PhD? What if it's such a simple story?
All right. Tell me the simple story, Dr. Kiltz.
All right. When you eat food that has no fat in it and you have no insulin, can you actually utilize that fuel for making fat or energy? You cannot. That's why type 1 diabetics die. So now insulin is given. If I give a type 1 diabetic insulin and I give them sugar, can they now make fat and gain some weight and have the fuel for their body?
Yeah.
Okay, so now wait a minute. But they say insulin's job is to put sugar in the cell so you have energy. But a cirrhotic patient has both sugar, insulin, but they're skinny and they die emaciated. They can't make fat
Why not?
because the liver's job is a digestive organ to convert amino acids and sugars to fat, or you die.
So the liver is not working
That's correct.
so that they're not making fat.
Correct. So again, you must eat fat or make fat or you die, because glucose is for glycosylation, not for energy production. Now,
Explain glycosylation. Explain to me what that is.
DNA makes RNA. RNA makes proteins. This is sort of simplistic story.
Okay.
DNA, RNA, proteins. Now you have a protein made in the endoplasmic reticulum of the cytoplasm. They must be post-translationally modified to give a protein its proper shape and function. Did you know that?
Now I do.
No, wait a minute. Because glycosylation and the diseases from faulty glycosylation are so common.
It's when the proteins are not shaped correctly.
That's correct. They're not given the right shape, charge, the pH, or whether they're water soluble or not.
Okay.
Okay? So now phosphorylation, oxidation, hydroxylation, methylation, acetylation, glycosylation. Ever heard of those terms?
I have.
Those are post-translationally modified proteins. Now, if insulin is glycated, because you and I are consuming a high plant-based diet, that means the blood serum has a high sugar all the time.
Okay.
Now, if I eat a meal, my glucose spikes, insulin spikes, it converts it to fat in the liver, it goes down, I'm fine. Correct?
Unless there's too much sugar and it stays in the blood.
Well, there's only too much sugar because you constantly eat food.
Exactly.
3 to 6 meals a day. Okay? So
Yeah.
how many meals did you and I likely eat 50,000 years ago?
We were lucky if we got one, probably
In a week,
one
maybe.
every other day,
Okay.
once every 3 days.
So why do you eat 3 to 6 meals a day? Why does modern science and medicine tell you to eat 3 to 6 meals a day?
It doesn't make any sense, but that's the way most people are raised, right? You have to eat breakfast, you have to eat lunch, you have to eat.
So imagine this bottle of water is the slurry of food in your intestines. And it's never empty.
No.
Are you ingesting into your liver sugar and amino acids all the time?
Yeah.
Are there poisons in plants that damage your liver?
Yeah.
Where's the first place they go? To the liver.
They go from your gut to the liver. Yeah.
That's correct. So, well, wait a minute. Plants are healthy for you.
So they say.
Right. And they tell you to eat 3 to 6 meals a day. And they told you that you need to go from keto to fat adapted, which is BS. Because that's the science story you and I have been taught, and we believe it. But
Okay.
I didn't eat it for a week last week. I have a bowel movement maybe once or twice a week or less. How come?
Because you're using all the food you eat.
There's no fiber.
Right.
It's all ingested. I have very small poop. There's no fermentation. Well, wait a minute. So when I eat protein or I eat some sugar, must I have to have a healthy liver? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I have to have insulin? Yes. Remember, you think insulin's job is to lower sugar. That's not its job. Its job is to make fat.
Okay.
If you're an herbivore, does it do it really well? It does. But remember, we're not eating a species-specific diet. You can eat a plant-based diet and you might live a long time. Likely because you're not grazing. Likely because you haven't eaten the things that damage your liver. Remember, as you damage your liver, what happens to your sugar levels in your serum?
They go up.
Because the liver's ability to convert them to fat fast enough has dropped.
Right.
Now, when your sugar levels go up, what else goes up?
Your insulin level.
Now, is that pathologic or is that normal?
That's normal.
So what's more likely to damage your brain, insulin or sugars?
I don't know. What's the
Which
answer?
is more likely
Damage.
to damage your brain, plant sugars, or the natural insulin your body makes?
So the insulin's already there. So is the sugar.
It's sure. Look at nobody that fasts and does carnivore, in my opinion, is getting the sicknesses that we're getting from a plant-based diet. Remember, we're blaming insulin. We call it insulin resistance. Does that mean insulin is resistant to something? What does it mean?
It means that the cells are resistant to the insulin. So
Which
the
cells?
cells are not getting the fuel that it needs.
But you're getting fat.
Right. Because you're storing fat.
Well, you're making fat.
Yeah. You're making
You're
it
making more
from the
fat.
liver, and you're storing it in your adipose tissue, in your internal organs. You're storing it everywhere.
Is that pathologic or physiologic?
It's physiologic because if you don't do that, you die.
That's correct. And what are
But
the
it's
odds that
pathologic because of the way we're eating.
it's not? It's storing fat is not pathologic.
Okay, so pathologic
It's
means
physiologic.
disease. Right.
So what did you eat that got you fat?
Sugar.
Plant sugars, plant antigens, plant chemicals, and fermentation of plants in your gut.
Yeah.
So The story is
I
simple.
feel like I'm going to school. This is really cool. I love this.
But again, what if all this yickety yak about insulin resistance and measuring your glucose and ketones all the time is all bullshit?
So do you think that it helps, though, if you've got something that you're trying to heal, to know what's going on in your body?
Which would you rather, a Bible or scientific journal in war?
A Bible.
What would you take on any expedition of the universe, a Bible or a scientific journal?
A Bible.
Has the science actually made us healthier or sicker?
Sicker.
Do you think this carnivore community or keto community was developed on science, or was it developed on stories of simple people?
Absolutely, stories of simple people.
It's our evolution. But the real revolution is the science is mostly snake oil. And I'm sorry, I'm a scientist, but I will tell you that insulin does not cause disease. Plant, sugars, antigens, chemicals, the fermentation of them in your gut, and excessive exercise is the cause of almost all disease.
Exercise. Too much exercise? Is that what you said?
Well, what are the odds that someone could just do a light jog and trip and fall and kill themselves? Is it greater than, look at what animal exercises?
It's dangerous. I'll never exercise again.
Well, but again, what animal exercises? None.
They have fun. I have 2 dogs and they run around, but they're having fun.
They do work. They do nature's work. So exercise makes us, I'm going to sell a new book and exercise is so important. Oh, we believe that. And because don't I look pretty decent for 69, almost 70?
You look fantastic.
Why not? But if I were 25, 50 pounds heavier, would that mean I was less healthy?
No.
You don't know that, right?
Because you can't see underneath. If you had adipose tissue surrounding your body, you would have no idea that you didn't have muscles or not. You don't know.
Well, let me ask you something. If you're 100 pounds overweight and you manage to get up, go to work, walk around, lift things up.
That's a workout.
Okay. If I put an extra 100 pounds on you right now, could you carry it around easily?
No.
No, I couldn't either. So when someone is 100 pounds heavier, are they weak or strong?
Strong.
They have muscles
Very
that
strong.
you can't believe. But remember, we are judgmentally negative against obesity. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. It's prejudice.
Prejudice, 100%. So what if, remember, are your and mine skeletons very similar?
Mm-hmm.
Are our muscle attachments and sizes very similar?
I'm probably not as strong as you, Dr. Kiltz.
That's the question. I didn't ask it. What was the question? Are your muscles, structure, size, and location nearly identical?
Absolutely.
You want to bet 100%. Have you ever seen a monkey, a chimpanzee? Do they have huge muscles? No. Could they take you down and kill you easily? They better believe it. Okay, so now the only thing different is the amount of adipose tissue we carry, and we look at that and judge it negatively, and we have no idea what's going on in that body.
Yeah.
Modern medicine is negative against fat, obesity, and so is our communities around the world. I never tell a patient to lose weight ever because that's not their problem.
No.
The fat, so a bear gets fat, hibernates, and pregnant for 6 months. What do they lose in that 6-month time where they're gestating a baby, up to 4 baby bears?
They're fat.
Do they lose muscle mass?
No.
How about bone mass?
No.
Well, then, wait a minute. They didn't eat, drink, piss, or poop, but they built a baby out of adipose tissue.
Yeah.
What's your adipose tissue for?
It's to keep you alive.
Building block, repair tissue, and the energy of your body. I'm sorry, sugar that you've eaten and or gluconeogenesis is not the fuel for your body one bit. Have you ever measured gluconeogenesis?
No.
Have you ever seen the measurement of glycogen?
A measurement? No.
It's fictitious.
So it's all the fat that makes everything.
Everything. Because if you have a cirrhotic liver, you have hepatogenous diabetes. Ever heard of hepatogenous diabetes?
It sounds like it would be diabetes caused from hepatitis.
Is it lack of insulin, or is it a high insulin sugar level? High level of insulin and sugar. Well, wait a minute. But you said that insulin's job was to put sugar in the cells. I would think it would be putting sugar into every adipose tissue of cell of your body, and you'd be energetic, but you're not. See, when I learned that glucose was not required in the human diet, I questioned everything. When I learned that bears hibernate for 6 months and lose no muscle mass or bone mass, I questioned everything. Remember, if I don't eat for a week, they're going to say, well, you're going to lose muscle mass because your body's going to eat your muscle. Why would it ever do that? Because I can build muscles because the fat is the building block and repair tissue for my body. Because what does adipose tissue contain? Amino acids, simple sugars, fatty acids, proteins, every building block of your body. Plus it contains the acetyl-CoA, which makes what? ATP.
Okay.
And again, I'm giving you a game changer. So, what causes Alzheimer's, depression, dementia? Insulin or sugar?
Sugar.
Sugar. Plant sugars. They're different than animal sugars. Did you know that? Every piece of animal or vegetable or microbe or fish that you eat, every cell of every organism contains phospholipid bilayer of fat and cholesterol, embedded proteins and amino acids, and glycans or sugars. Just enough.
Just enough.
Remember,
not in excess is what I'm thinking. It's
I don't know.
just what you need.
But remember, if you don't eat plants are foreign sugars that are highly antigenic. 2, they contain chemicals that are highly damaging your body or make you high and think, oh, I need more of this. 3, they contain lectins, oxalates, phytates, antigens that are highly inflammatory, and they carry the bugs which ferment in the gut along with the fiber that ferments in the gut that makes alcohol, heat, gas, and methane. All bad for you. What toxic chemical does a ribeye fatty steak cause, Carrie? 0.
None.
0. So is the science really complicated, or is it really simple?
I think it's really simple. You're simplifying it for me.
Right, because remember at Harvard and Tufts, they can't have simple stories. It's got to be complicated to put in a published paper to be only for the elite professors that can understand it.
Right.
In order to get another research project of money, helping them propagate the stupid story that the chemicals are really good for you.
It's very silly.
It's silly.
Just eat meat, right?
Bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and salt.
There you go.
Okay, can you eat ice cream? Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you do.
Eating cookie, cake, or ice cream going to kill you right away?
What about that?
That's what I eat. The baby's diet. It's pronounced babies. Bacon, eggs, butter, beef, ice cream, and salt. Do I make ice cream and eat it? Yes, I do. Do I sometimes eat a French fry or have a martini? Yes, I do. What are the odds that a French fry or martini is going to kill me rapidly?
Not really good. So there's the ice cream right there, Dr. Kiltz. Yeah, that's what you make. Dr. Kiltz ice cream.
So I'm not here to chastise anyone's science, but I'm here to tell you that most of it's wrong.
So tell us about what you're doing, because I don't think a lot of people know what you're doing on the internet and all the good things you're teaching people and all the groups you're creating. And I went to one of your groups last night and I was just so amazed at what you're doing for no cost, Dr. Kiltz. You are holding these meetings, well, for these people. This is cost, the 30 days to Carnivore, but it's a little bit, just a tiny bit. But you tell everyone what you're doing.
Well, I created CMI Fertility, which is the lowest cost fertility center in America. I'm told by my professional organization, I can't tell people that. It's unethical for me to tell people that we're less cost or affordable, but I do it anyway. And I've integrated Eastern Western practices, and I went into medicine to help people. I happen to do very well in my life that I've learned some things. Plus, I own and run one of the largest fertility centers in America. But I came into this space to provide more affordable access and free content. Now, we are beginning to offer some carnivore courses. We're actually going to be certifying everyone and anyone as a keto carnivore metabolic health specialist. All right. So that you can take that knowledge to wherever you want in this world and utilize it. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars for that. We're working for it to be nominally priced. And we're going to be hiring per diem, essentially, carnivore coaches that they can give power. And medicine needs to change. You don't need to spend a bunch of money to talk to a doctor who's only allowed to talk about this. We want you and everyone else to talk about everything related to healthcare. That I'm giving you health coaching advice. I'm not your doctor, but you can utilize it and take it anywhere you want. But we also have the medical side that if you need some of those things, we're going to work to help you do that. Also, we're working at a nominal price to fuel the fire in the Ferrari, I say.
Yeah. So your coaching groups that you have, is it how many times? Is it once a week?
Well, right now, our Monday 5:30 p.m. Zoom meeting. Right. But we're on at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday at Eastern Time, USA. Right. Dr. Nelson joined me. Alia Wells joined me. Nate joined me. And we have other people joining. We're looking for volunteers to spread the word around the globe. Why keto, carnivore, faith, and fasting are the game changer. Listen, I did not say don't exercise, but go walking. Here I am. I'm standing up mostly for this, right? You can, and I usually do my push-ups and all my craziness, and I do my walking for an hour. Is it required? Nope. I go do my pottery, painting, poetry, music. I go to work. I still operate. I still talk to people all day because every one of our job is to go do something. I don't care if you're working at the Salvation Army, you're volunteering in the church, you're working at the grocery store, you're bagging food, you're being productive in life.
You're feeling good about yourself. You're accomplishing something. You're doing something in the world, right?
Participation. That's what I call it. This is a participatory. That's why join us on our carnivore conversations. Raise your hand. I don't have anything else to say, but thank you. That's fine. And we're working to interview everyone that ever comes on one of our lives or share the story. Like it's sharing the story, right? Are you and I different physiologically or metabolically?
We're both human beings.
Dr. Chafee is like species specific. Dr. Barry, Dr. Baker, Kelly Hogan, Lisa Wiedemann, we go down the list. We're learning from human beings like you. We got our Boston meetup coming up.
Yeah.
We got our Yuma meetup. I mean, Dr. Seyfried is are amazing. We have so many great people coming there. Yourself is going to be there. What we're learning is you don't have to have a label of a certified coach. Like I'm certifiable.
Dr. Kiltz, you're hysterical.
You really need someone else to do another study on cholesterol.
Please, if I hear one more cholesterol question, please.
I mean, my grandmother lived 104. She smoked Pall Malls, drank Manhattan. She was an Italian Mediterranean eater. She had some Alzheimer's, depression, all those sort of things. But like by the grace of God go I. I don't know why some people live longer than others or some people have less health issues than others. By the grace of God go I. We don't know that answer. But people like yourself, Adam Lacey, Carrie Mann, Nelson Vasquez, Thomas Seyfried, Lisa Wiedemann.
Yeah, we have a lot more too. I think Alia told me today that we've got more people.
Yeah, I'm hoping Dr. Boz shows up.
We're hoping. We're hoping, Dr. Boz.
But listen, and I am not against people doing studies and reporting. But you don't need another study to help you be healthy.
No. You just you know what it is? When you confuse it all with all the studies and with everything the doctors tell you, you get afraid. You get afraid to make the change. And the only way that you're going to know if a carnivore diet is good for you is if you try it. Try it for 30 days, see how you feel. And that's exactly what I did. And after I did that, I went and saw you, Dr. Kiltz, in Wisconsin.
That was amazing. It was great.
That was so much fun. Yeah. And, right at this picture, I had appendicitis. I had surgery 1 week before that.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was going to go. And I was healing incredibly fast. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to miss this thing. I'm going to go. I'm going to meet everybody. And you were the first person I talked to. And I was so struck when you started speaking with me. And I don't think you know this. I mean, you are a fertility doctor. And I don't think you know this, but after you spoke to me about starting my own YouTube channel, I don't know. There was something stirring inside, Dr. Kiltz.
Yeah.
And you planted a seed that I had to do this thing. And I think this is a talent of yours too, is to help people, I don't know, to challenge them, to do new things. You're very, you're very, very good at that. And that meeting, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And here's another picture of you talking about your carnivore diet on stage. I took that one too. So I wanted to make sure I showed everyone that picture as well, because we had a really good time. I don't have as many pictures for the Tampa meetup. So we met again in Tampa, and that was absolutely fantastic. That meetup was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone has not seen a meetup, I'm telling you, you got to get to one. You have to get to a meetup. And if you are in the Boston area, this is the one you need to go to. It's going to be, I have it scrolling on the bottom, the Weston Copley Place, lunch at Fuego de Chao.
Yeah.
It's an all-day event. We're starting 9 a.m. with a meet and greet. And I think we start at 10 with everyone telling their inspirational stories. And we have so many people that are going to be telling their stories. And then we go to lunch. We have a delicious meat-filled lunch. And then afterwards, there's a Q&A. So it's going all the way until 6 o'clock. So it's going to be a great day. And I hope you decide to join us. We'll be there, right, Dr. Kiltz? We'll be there.
Absolutely. And I invite everyone, just show up.
Yeah.
And we're going to get you in one way or another.
You can get in. Yeah. Just show up.
Bring a friend.
Yeah.
This crazy carnivore is crazy. Like, do not do it. All right. but even if you're not a carnivore, you're a ketovore, or you're just interested in health and wellness, you just want to show up, because we talk about other things also that I think is so critical for all of us. Our health and wellness is born in community, because we get to talk about crazy ideas.
Yeah. And I think, that's the carnivore brain for you, Dr. Kiltz. And I just know that this is the way your brain is moving. It's like it frees up a bunch of stuff. When you get rid of the crap in your diet, you can think clearly. You can ponder. You can, you can think of all these things.
They're all poisonous. Again,
Careful.
They're all poisonous.
Well, you can look at them. You can smell them. You can, you can plant them. Just don't eat them.
Minimize to maximize.
Yeah.
So again, if you eat a plant, cook it, soak it, ferment it, add fat.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
That's what our ancestors did, right? You come from an Italian ancestry.
Yep.
So do I.
Yeah.
How did your grandmother cook vegetables?
Oh, she fried them, and she used olive oil, but again, this is crazy concepts and ideas.
Yeah.
That's why I invite the ketovores. I think we should do a keto carnivore collective environment because we want to sort of share ideas that we can talk on all sides, because you could be a vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, and keto. But carnivore is sort of like when nothing else is working, I think carnivore is the way, personally.
Well, I followed the keto diet for years and years and years, on and off, thinking it was going to heal my multiple sclerosis. It wasn't until I cut out the plants. 3 weeks later, I was healing. It was like totally amazing. My symptoms were disappearing one at a time. Do I still have MS? I don't care. I don't care what you want to call me, but I don't have any symptoms.
So remember, you're poisoned by ivy. Is there a poison ivy disease?
No.
We don't have any diseases. We are labeled, which enables. I am healthy and well.
I know.
That is
I tell
it.
myself that every day.
That is it, because
I am grateful for my health.
every time we label a disease, we're enabling the mindset that every time something happens, oh my God, my MS is back. I never do that. I am healthy and well. I was basically damaged by the plants that cause symptoms that we in modern medicine check off the box because I probably make more money and I could probably get you for a different drug because you have a diagnosis. And if your insurance is right, I can get you those drugs that would cost you a pretty penny. I might get a little kickback for them too.
Yeah, well, thank God for you, Dr. Kiltz.
Oh.
You're changing the paradigm.
Well,
I call you a medical maverick.
Well, this gal,
That guy.
is like our guide to the universe.
There you go.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
Guide to the universe. So
Good for you. So how can people find you, Dr. Kiltz?
go to drkiltz.com. That's the best way. DOCTORKILTZ.com. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, all those things. You go to that website, Kiltz Health, Kiltz Mighty Tribe. If you go to drkiltz.com, you could just dive deep into all of it.
Everything's there. Everything's there. So I have it scrolling on the bottom of the screen.
You're the best. You're the
Places
best.
that you can find Dr. Kiltz. I'm also putting it in the show notes, and I'm putting information for our meetup in the show notes as well. So don't miss that. You'll be so sorry if you miss that. And we want to meet you. So please come. And Dr. Kiltz, it has been a pleasure. I feel like I just went through a college course. I'm just so excited that I know all this stuff. And you're such a good teacher, mentor, and friend. And I thank you so much for joining me today.
Diane, God bless you. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
I'm so glad to be here, and I look forward to meeting everyone at one of the meetups.
Awesome. Bye-bye now.